Have you ever walked into your grandparents' house and you're instantly hit with the sweet smell of an apple pie? And have you ever wanted to know how to replicate that? How to replicate your grandma's apple pie really easily? Well, I've got just the way for you. And it's even mini. Perfect to share with your friends or your family, or you can keep it all to yourself. Today I'll share some helpful sources, the easy prep work, and how to put everything together to make these mini apple pies. While looking online, I found some helpful sources which I will share with you today. The first source includes called entertainingwithbeth.com. The article I chose to look at was called 10 Tips for the Best Apple Pie. Tip number 6 is the tip that I found the most helpful since everything else that I'm using is pre-made. Tip number 6 says to only use the egg whites as your egg wash. Since the egg whites don't burn as quickly as the yolks can, using only the egg whites, you will get the perfect golden brown color you desire when baking a pie. Another thing to think about when making a pie is what to pair with your pie. Personally, I love Land O'Lakes' idea. It's to serve it with vanilla ice cream, and that apple pie isn't complete without it, which I believe is a very good point. But before we get too ahead of ourselves with what to pair with our apple pies, let's actually make them. So I have some pre-made dough here before you. I cleaned the surface before the video started, and now I'm just going to roll out my dough that was left over from when I made the other pies, which I will share with my audience today. When rolling out your dough, you want to make sure that you don't make it too thin, because then it's hard to fill once you get it in your pie tin, because it might leak or crack easily when it's baking. And you may wonder how to know how big to make each pie crust because, well, these are mini. Well, on Pampered Chef's website, the set that comes with the pie tin includes 2 pie cutters, one for the larger bottom crust and one for the smaller top crust. And they make the perfect size to fit in this pan. I have to re-roll out my dough because I didn't make it quite wide enough to make both circles cut out of it. That's gonna have sticking. And before we move on to actually assembling, we want to make sure that we have everything ready for assembly, such as I've got my egg whites here and the pie filling right here, which is open and ready for us. And then I have my knife for venting the top crust at the once we are ready to put these in the oven. Alright, so now I have my 2 crusts. And now that we have everything ready to start assembling. So first I'm going to take my pie tin and grab the larger crust and put it in one of the designated places. And I just like to push it down in just a little bit and then work it into the edges so that it's ready to be filled with the pie filling. And I forgot a spoon, so we're going to use our knife to put the apples into this crust. And then once you have it filled, you'll want to put your egg whites around the edges so that it acts as a seal when baking to actually keep the 2 crusts together, which there was one time that I forgot to do that, and I definitely noticed that I didn't. I have this nifty tool that comes with the set of the Pampered Chef set, And now, you probably guessed what comes next. We put the top crust on, which I just like to try to squeeze the 2 together. And then as soon as those 2 are kind of pressed together, you begin to crimp the crust, which this way is what I found easiest for making all the mini pies for my basketball team. It's just you roll it over your 1 finger and pinch, and just continue to do that, like so. And spinning the tray I found is quite helpful instead of trying to just work your way around it. And usually I would have all 6 spaces at the same stage when making a pan of pies, but today for the sake of time I'm just showing you 1 space. And now put your egg wash on the top. Make sure you get all of it covered that's showing so that you get that even golden brown color. And then vent so that it doesn't explode in the oven, which I definitely forgot to vent it one time and it was not pretty. Alright, and now that you're finished with all the prep work, you throw this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 18 minutes. And today, I already had some pre-made pies to share with my audience members. So this is what it would look like if I were to bake them for you, but since I don't have 18 minutes to show, like let it bake and show you this one done, those are pre-made to show you what they will look like. And then after sharing some helpful sources, showing you the very easy prep work and how all of this comes together to make a delicious mini apple pie, I hope you, instead of remembering your grandma's pies, now you can make your own very easily and have that sweet smelling apple pie wafting through your home. Thank you.